Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Ask the Arts. Today, we have a very special friend of mine who is an expert in all things writing prompts and is moving into the speaker space. Welcome, Melissa.
Hi, Michelle. Hi, everyone.
Thank you so much for coming and having another chat with me. And the last time we talked, you had your beautiful book that had come out, and Fairy Bell has read that on her channel. But you're moving into a really exciting new venture. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, I have realized in the last probably 6 months that I use creative writing as a big part of looking after my own mental health. And it's something that I have done pretty much my whole life without even realizing it. And one of the things I want to do is move in and tell more people about how amazing creative writing is for their mental health and well-being.
I love that. And I never thought about it like that until you said it. And it's so true. Ever since I started writing in grade 5, it's always been something that has centered me and
Mm.
been a way that I could express myself. How has creative writing helped with your mental health?
Well, one is expressing myself. In so many ways, writing a story gives me a voice in a way that other forms, they just don't or they can't. One example that I give, I've just written a speech for an event, and I give this example that I'm a single mum. I have two kids with chronic health issues. At the time of this incident, I was also working outside the home, and honestly, life was just, it was too much. And I was had that feeling of wanting to explode. And I wanted to lie down on the floor and have like a 2-year-old temper tantrum. But I was in my early 40s or around that age, and a mum and responsible. And you don't do that as a grown-up. So instead, what I did was I grabbed my laptop and I wrote a scene about a single mum who was having the temper tantrum that I wanted to have. So she's yelling and screaming about how life isn't working out for her. And then she gets her coffee mug and chucks it at the wall and it smashes. And then she gets another coffee mug. She does it twice, smashes at the wall. And I describe the sound of the smashing, the coffee coming down the wall, like all this sort of stuff. And I slept really well that night. I got everything out in this story. And my only goal was to basically, in fiction, write the tantrum that I wanted to have.
Yeah, that's amazing. I like the amount of times I've wanted to throw something and
Mm.
smash it and just, held that inside. I love that idea that you can take all of that and use it in your creative writing to at least, they say that when you read, your brain doesn't know that you're not actually doing the thing that
Mm.
you're writing about. Reading about. So I wonder if that's the same with writing. If you're writing something, maybe your brain doesn't always know the difference between you not doing it and you writing it, because we've both said before that journaling doesn't work for us.
Mm. It doesn't work for me. And I keep being told, oh, you like writing, so, journaling would be great. And yeah, it doesn't work for me. And I've come to realize well, recently I have a thing called alexithymia. I think that's how you say it, which basically means I struggle to identify my emotions. I know I'm feeling something, but I don't know what it is. And with journaling, a lot of it is about things like, write about how you're feeling. And so I sit and look at a blank page going, I don't know how I'm feeling. Whereas if I could look at a blank page and just go, so what's going on in my life? And give that to a character who is not me, but in some ways is me, put them in that same situation or a similar situation and just start writing and see what happens. And through that, it's like, oh yeah, that's how I'm feeling. There was one thing last year where I was in a cafe and I was reading Josephine Moon's latest book, The Wonderful Thing About Phoenix Rose. And there was a passage in that that just hit me in all the feels. And then I was also scrolling on Instagram and I found a meme that again hit me in the same place. And this was in the space of about 10 minutes. And I burst into tears in the middle of a cafe. And I just started writing this piece. And because like I didn't know why I was crying. I didn't know what it was. But then I wrote this piece about this woman who burst into tears in a cafe. And as I was writing and her reflection on why she was crying, it's like, oh my goodness, that's why I'm crying. And it was just so powerful. And it's like, yeah, this is what I do. And yeah, more people need to know about it.
Absolutely. I think, for women, this is really important because we do mask a lot of the time how we are actually feeling. And I think it's probably a product of our generation and our childhood that it was very much that girls aren't allowed to be angry or girls aren't allowed to show big emotions, and you suppress them. And then as a grown up, you didn't have that release as a kid where you could have tantrums and you could cry and you could yell, and that's still all stuck in you. I love the creative writing aspect, and you help do that with your writing prompts, don't you?
I do. And because a lot of the writing prompts also, because I've been running writers groups with teenagers and younger writers, and also with grown-ups during the lockdowns for about 10 years. And I always really struggled with that because I'd say, this is not a how to write class. I didn't teach you how to write. And I said, like, my first words are usually, this is not English class. I don't care about your spelling or your grammar. That's not what this is about. And it took me until last year to realize that even those groups is about well-being. The kids that I've worked with, I've seen their confidence grow. I've had people come to my workshops going, I can't write anything. And by the end, they're writing something and it's, oh my goodness, I've done something. And so often with the writing prompts is it can be really silly. Things like, imagine a genie has taken up residence in your drink bottle. Write a story about what happened. And so for kids who are doing that, it's like, oh, we really hate maths class. So the genie is going to show up in our maths class and disrupt it. For grown-ups, it's, oh, the genie is going to show up at work, or the genie is going to give me wishes that mean that I can change whatever it is. So it's that escapism. Or it can be something a bit more serious, like, write an ode to mothers for Mother's Day or something. So the prompts can vary from the sublime to the ridiculous. But the whole point is, this is not English class. You can just write, you can have fun, you can let those thoughts and those feelings and those emotions out on the page. And whether it's you want to have a tantrum or you're just sick and tired of being a responsible adult and you want to get really, really silly. I'm sure you can relate as a children's author.
That would be me.
But you can be silly. And it's even things like my picture book, My Mummy is Evil, is that came about because my kids called me evil. And I could have got upset by that. And I'm sure that they were joking. But instead I wrote a picture book. And yeah, I really have a lot of fun with that book.
Yes, absolutely. That's so much fun. So is this something you've always done? Like, did you want to be a writer when you grew up?
I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up. Writing has always been something that I've done and something that I found really easy to do. And so in some ways, I was brought up, and I don't know if it was my generation or whether it was my surroundings or whatever, but I was always told that a career and work has to be hard work. So because I found writing so easy, it felt like it wasn't something that I could seriously think about doing. But the other thing also was, like, when I was in year 9 or 10 with the careers teacher, they were going, oh, so you like writing? All right, so you should do journalism. And I tried that and I went to uni and it wasn't for me. But being a creative writing wasn't considered a viable career path. It wasn't considered something that you could do. And so back in the mid-90s, there weren't these creative writing courses and opportunities that we have now. But even things like, print on demand and all that sort of stuff wasn't around back then. So I sometimes wonder if that had been around when I was a kid, if things would have been different. And I would have seen creative writing as a viable career option, but it wasn't there.
No, it wasn't. Now that you say that, I remember my options was like journalist or teacher.
Oh, they didn't even put teacher down for me. It
Oh,
was,
there you go.
but the other thing is,
Or journalist.
but I was also really into science.
Ah,
So I've also worked out that I'm a little bit strange in that I can do the creative stuff and the math science stuff. So I actually started doing an arts science degree because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so even in VCE in year 12, I did chemistry, physics, and 2 maths.
wow.
Along
They
with
didn't
English
know.
and
They
literature.
didn't. They didn't know what round hole to put your square peg in, did they?
Oh, I've worked out that my peg is not square. It's really weird shaped. But this is one of the things that I like teaching in creative writing is it doesn't matter. You can let your whatever shape you are shine. And even with the writing prompts, you can use any style, any genre. And I encourage people to play and have fun with it. Because I'm not a poet. Poetry is not really my thing. But every now and again I'll look at a prompt and go, you know what? I'm going to try a poem. And I write a really bad one. But gee, I have fun writing it. Or
Yeah.
I'll write fantasy, or I'll write science fiction, or I'll write a romance or a murder mystery or something. But I will play with it. And the majority of this stuff, no one is going to see. And I often say to the people that I talk to is write like no one will read it. Because, and then if you decide you want someone to read it down the track, you can edit it and rewrite it and all that sort of stuff. But for this, write as if no one is going to read it so that you can just be there in the moment. You can block out everything else that is going on and just let yourself go. And I actually did a group with some mental health professionals the other week, and they just said, because a couple of them said, oh, I haven't written anything in years, I couldn't possibly. And they said, oh my goodness, I was able to just be there in the moment and write and just have some fun with it. And having those mental health professionals going, yes, this is great for mental health. I'm sitting there going, yes, I knew it.
Yes, you are right.
I was right. But through stories, yeah, you don't have to be any good at it. It doesn't have to cost any money. Like my favorite notebooks for writings are the ones left over from my kids' school. I tear out the front pages where they've written, they've done their schoolwork, and I use the pages at the end. So it doesn't cost me anything. And I can just be silly. I can be serious. But I'm there in the moment. And because my brain doesn't stop. So things like meditation also don't work for me. And I say my mindfulness is writing a story because I have to be there in the moment. I have to block out everything else that's going around me. And I'm just there in the moment, focusing on the story. And so, yeah, I'm letting out all sorts of things inside. I'm in the moment, I'm having fun. And sometimes I just write a couple of lines and I look at them later and go, what on earth was I thinking? Other times I'll go back and revisit something going, oh my goodness, that could be a thing. And it's like that story that I told you earlier about the tantrum and throwing the mugs at the wall. I'm now turning that into a novel.
Love it.
So you never know. But that wasn't the point when I first wrote it.
Yeah. No. And I think that the thing that I love about what you do is that it's for kids who love English at school, but English at school has to be written to tick boxes, and English at school is marked, and it's not for fun. There is no fun, joyful writing at school, and the only way that kids are going to get it is by doing a
Having
respect.
fun.
Yeah, and that's their happy place. It's like for the kids who love soccer, it's kicking a ball. For the, the kids who love swimming, and for the kids who love writing, unless they have that extracurricular groups like yours, they can actually just go and write like one's going to read it, which is, what we all did as kids and what we all should be doing as authors. There's
But
nothing.
also, I was going to say, but also what I do is for the kids who don't love English. I've had kids in my groups who basically have been told you can't write a story because they couldn't tick those boxes for whatever reasons, whether it was their spelling, like they might be severely dyslexic, they might have other learning difficulties, or they just can't tick those boxes. But they come to my groups, and because it's an accepting place, because it's like, I don't care how you write it. I mean, you could use smoke signals if you like, although that's not recommended on days of total fire. Or if you're in a library room in the library, because I don't think the library would like it for OH&S. But basically, they can use anything they like, because the other thing at school is often they're told you have to handwrite or you have to type it. Whereas I say, look, you pick the medium that works for you. If voice-to-text software works for you, use voice-to-text software. Because my preferred way often is in a notebook with a grey lead pencil. And I got my pen license when I was in grade 5, like back in the late 80s. But I still prefer to write with a pencil. And it has to be nice and sharp.
Yep. That one's not sharp because I wrote that, yes.
Yeah.
All right.
But I've got my pencil and I've got my sharpener at my desk.
Yes. And my
but also, like, I prefer to type with a keyboard, so I don't do it on my phone. But I also know some kids and some adults who prefer to type on their phone, and that's okay as well. So it's not. So what I do is not prescriptive, and so there's a lot of kids and even a lot of adults. When I say it doesn't matter how you do it, just let go and have some fun, they've never ever had anyone telling them that when it comes to creative writing. Even things like you don't have to worry about a title, because so many of them have been told you have to come up with a title first. And my first book, Swallow Me Now, the title was the last thing we did. Like, we were ready to press publish and we still didn't have a title.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have a title and not a story.
Well, like, my Princess Wears a Superhero Cape, the titles came first.
Yeah.
But it really depends. But by saying to them, you don't have to worry about a title. You don't have to worry about a plan. You don't have to worry about a sizzling starts or whatever else they talk about now. You don't have to worry about using long words or any of that. That's not the point. The point is to just lose yourself in story and have some fun.
We think so the same. I love that. And I love how you articulate that in a way that is so accessible for so many people. What's the best thing about what you're doing right now?
One of the best things is I love seeing how you'll have a room of like 15 participants. You give them the same writing prompt and you find 15 different stories and 15 like completely different takes on the exact same story, same prompt. And to see them working on it, and at the end of it, there's smiling faces and they enjoy. I never force anybody to share what they've done. Although often I say, can you just tell us how you've used the prompt? And just to see that sharing and the surprise also with some of them that, oh my goodness, you've done it, interpreted it such a different way to me. That to me is really exciting. But honestly, I think one of the most rewarding things is seeing all these people realize that they can fall in love with stories on their own terms and that they can enjoy them in a way that in some of them, they were told that they weren't allowed to growing up, and that they can just have fun with it. And yeah, it just gets me really excited that these people are falling in love with stories.
Yeah. And that's half the battle, isn't
Yeah.
it? To love it and want to do it. What's the hardest thing about what you're doing right now?
Because this is in many ways, it's such a new idea. The hardest thing is explaining what it is that I do. Because I've contacted libraries and things about running writers groups and things, and then going, oh no, we've got somebody else who runs workshops. And the next thing I see, they've got like a how to write workshop. I'm going, that's not what I do. For me, it's about, as I say, it's about accessibility. It's about confidence building. It's about bringing people together. It's about having fun, and it's not English class.
Yeah.
But trying to explain it to people what it is that I do, that's been a real challenge. And it's only really been in the last 6 months that I've realized that what it is, it essentially comes down to is using creative writing for wellbeing.
Yeah, I love that. And as a community, because you know how much I love the writing community and how we are all behind each other, what can we do as a community to help you right now? What is it that you need for us to help you with to get you to the next level?
Oh, that's a big I guess part of it is just helping me get the word out there. Opportunities like this interview is amazing. But yeah, a lot of it is helping me get the word out there, and to say and saying to people, look, just write and have some fun with it. And if you need help on how to get started with it, come and see Melissa, because I have writing prompt books, I have workshops. Hopefully I'll have some online programs and stuff in the in the near future. But yeah, like if you need some help to get started, check out Melissa's stuff, because this is actually really really good thing to have some fun with it, rather than necessarily set out to, say, write a book.
Yeah, and it's important. It's what I've been saying for ages, is that you write the stories that heal your inner child. Whether you realize that you're doing it or not, you write the stories that you wish you'd had when you were the age of the person that you're writing for. And as an adult, like, I still haven't been brave enough to tackle that adult. But I'm so excited about this mother's writing prompt book that you've got up. So I can't wait to get my hands on that. So if anyone watching wants to reach out to you and get some help or find out a little bit more about what you're doing, or to book you for a speaking engagement, what's the best way that they can get in contact with you?
The best way is probably my website, which is melissagijsbers.com, and I believe you'll put the URL down. I'm also on like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and hopefully soon YouTube. But all with Melissa Gijsbers. So if you look me up.
Awesome. You're lucky that you've got a very interesting last name that nobody else will have stolen.
No, but the problem is a lot of people don't know how to spell.
True. So I'll make sure that I'll put the links to all of those in the comments. So if you are wanting to find out a little bit more about what Melissa does, if you want to get back into writing, if you were writing as a kid and you lost it because you were told somewhere along the way that it was only a hobby, or that, it wasn't something that was worthwhile spending your time on, we can absolutely tell you that 100% is for your creativity, for your mental health, and for just seeing where it takes you. You don't want to regret that you never shared the story inside you. So I just think, Melissa, you're so brave and amazing to not only share your own story, and I know how tough it's been for you, but also to help other people do that as well. So thank you for coming and talking to me today.
You're very welcome. And just on that note, doing creative writing like this is also a great thing that you can do with your kids.
Yes.
That you can get a writing prompt, and you can either write the story together, or you can each, like almost like parallel play, each of you write a story of yourself with a prompt, and then share and just have some fun with it. And it's a great way to spend some time with the family as well.
Absolutely. Just like we have to model reading, we have to model writing as well. If you want
Exactly.
you to do it, you got to do it first.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I've just loved chatting with you today.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me.
And we will see you on another episode of Ask the Arts.